Well, you at B'Tselem put out a video that's extremely disturbing. Rape in the Name of God is the title of it. And this shows a group of settlers harassing Palestinians in the South Hebron Hills. And as we're going to hear, one of the settlers mentions Sde Teiman, the Sde Teiman Center, which is, of course, where Palestinian prisoners were tortured and raped by Israeli guards. So let's take a look at this video.
Next time someone touches him, my cows.
Why your cows came here?
Why cows? Because this is my land.
But this is my house.
I was given it by God and Abraham, Isaac, Yaakov.
Shame. Hey,
Shut
no.
the fuck up.
This is my house.
Not your house.
This is okay. That's your house.
Yeah.
Okay, you
Tell your crazy witch to go to fuck to the house. Let's go.
Where?
Let's go right now. Show
What
me
you
phone.
want?
Well, I want to dance with you, man.
Dance with
I
me?
want to dance with you. You look,
I'm not your bitch.
you look sweet. You are my bitch. And you look sweet, you know? You look so fresh, so sweet. I will be happy to sit with you in a jail someday. I will be happy. You know Sde Teiman? Sde Teiman? אונס לשם שמיים, מה שנאמר. אתה מבין? מה אני מדבר?
Returning to the issue of sexual violence and rape, I want to ask you about the report that B'Tselem put out last month, Welcome to Hell. And could you explain why it's called Welcome to Hell and also summarize the findings of the report?
Yeah, it's called Welcome to Hell because this is what a jailer, an Israeli prison service worker, told one of our witnesses when they entered the jail, the prison. The report essentially looks at the testimonies of Palestinian prisoners who have been either detained after October 7th or detained before, but experienced the kinds of conditions post-October 7th in the Israeli prison system. We're not talking about Sde Teiman, right? In a way, paradoxically, we only spoke to people who Israel did not think of as very dangerous terrorists, quote unquote, because they were all released. We interviewed them after they were released, most without actually facing any sort of trial. Maybe they might have been administrative detainees, they might have been arrested, kept for days or weeks and then released. And some of them are actually people who served their sentences, but the majority were not tried, didn't face any proper real trial. And they gave the most gruesome accounts that are very consistent, even though they came from different prisons and different towns, and none of them have been in touch with one another in any systematic way. They gave accounts that demonstrate the systemic nature of what has been happening in the Israeli prison system. And the way we summed it up is that after October 7th, Israel turned the prison system in it that deals with Palestinians into a network of torture camps, because the treatment that these Palestinians have faced in that period amounts to torture in many of the cases, in some cases amounts to abuse, and it includes the whole range of these abusive practices like overt violence, intense violence, beatings, and also humiliations and terrible conditions, horrific, both kind of living conditions and also any sort of ability to maintain a sort of daily routine or any sort of hygiene has been destroyed. Starvation as a policy, literally, people are losing, 10 and 20 kilo of their weight when they're released because they're not able to eat enough, and also just a denial of medical treatment, a denial of sleep, all of these horrific conditions. And the most important thing I would say is that none of this is the result of individual actions by any sort of individual prison guard. These are systemic actions inspired by Minister Ben-Gvir again.
Right. So this is not a couple of bad apples or rogue agents. This is systemic.
Absolutely. The sheer fact that so much of this has been described by so many Palestinians that have been released from prison, who, as I said, were in different detention centers in different periods and in different areas, and come and live in different areas, but described such similar policies, is really crucial. The other really horrific thing is that Israel actually, I wouldn't say admits to some of it, but boasts that some of this is correct. Now, I want to be clear. Israel hasn't said, oh, we're starving prisoners, oh, we're beating them up, or anything of that sort. But Minister Ben-Gvir has essentially boasted change, or the deterioration in the prison conditions as an achievement, right? So obviously they're very careful about saying that everything is done within the framework of the law. We would disagree. We would say it's absolutely illegal and a violation of international law. But many of these things, like the cancelling of any possibility of Palestinians to hold any sort of personal items or buy additional food even from the prison canteen, all of these things have been stated openly by Israel, by official Israeli spokespeople.
And we know that the Sde Teiman violence and rape has been actually deemed as legitimate by a member of the Knesset, who said out loud in front of the entire Knesset that it was legitimate to insert sticks into someone's rectum.
I mean, look, it's really one of the most depressing and just hopeless periods in any sort of living memory, and I've lived there, all my life, or barring certain periods. I don't remember a worse period in Israel. So many horrific things and so many red lines, or things that we would have been up in arms about even a year ago, as I said, that just, people are just becoming so normalized. One of them is the callous approach to such horrors, and all of this justified by the horrors perpetrated by Hamas. Instead of saying these are absolute horrors, these are crimes that no one should be perpetrating, many Israelis are saying, oh, well, we'll do the same. It's justified because what was done to us. We cannot accept this. B'Tselem has been really just on the front lines, I think, of demanding, an end to this just moral abyss. But certainly we're a tiny minority right now in Israeli society. Things are changing a little bit, I think. I think some people are beginning to wake up from this really, horrific, I think, just this orgy of hate and revenge that Israeli society was plunged into. But not all. You still hear the same sort of rhetoric that, it's unconscionable, and Israelis would immediately complain about it if it came from any other source in the world. It would be absolutely, denounced as the worst kinds of anti-Semitism. But it's deemed reasonable when it comes to Palestinians here.